Hey guys, so welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney 2. Let's carry on where we left off. As you can see in front of us, we have a photograph of the victim. Don't be misled by the red hair. This is, in fact, Inspector Gregson. I told you guys that he died. You all didn't believe me. You thought that he actually completed his transfer to Paris and was enjoying French fries instead of his wedges. Well, news, guys. French fries don't even come from France, alright? In the meantime, we are in court defending Lord Van Zeek's, our clients. We have to suggest a way a time device was employed to create the gunshot sound. The gunshot sound originating from this Venus firecracker, which goes off like a gunshot, as per the description. Admittedly, I haven't really given it much thought since I last played. I did suggest Gregson's pocket watch last time. Obviously, that was wrong. So what else could be a timed device? Not quite sure. If I have a quick look, maybe I can come up with something. I suppose potentially the candelabrum could be considered a timed device simply because the wax will slowly melt down. Maybe the firecracker was tied to it or something of the sort. Let's try presenting this.
Take that!
See how we go. There we are. As the court has already discussed, the tip of one of the candles in this candelabrum has been blown off.
Indeed, because it was struck by the bullet, which presumably passed through the victim.
I don't think that's possible, my lord.
Not possible. Why?
Because of the scorching. Clearly, that's what I was thinking of, the scorching. There are gunpowder scorch marks clearly visible on the broken candle.
There are? Oh goodness, yes! But is it not the case that there was also scorching on the victim around the bullet entry wound?
That's right, there was. But as we heard earlier, scorching like that only occurs when the target is at very close range. A matter of centimeters from the gun.
Oh!
Which means that the scorching on the candle can't possibly be the result of a gunshot. Unless the culprit shot the candle, deliberately, centimeters away.
You're suggesting it came from the fireworks? How can that be, eh?
The fact that there's such visible scorching on the candle suggests that the fireworks must have been right next to it when they exploded. Or to put it another way, the candle and firecrackers were joined together, in unison. Till death did they part. The culprit somehow attached the firecrackers at a point partway down the candle. After the killer had left the scene, the candle slowly burnt down along with the other two. I wonder why they lit all three. Until eventually it ignited the fuse of the firecrackers, generating a loud bang. There you go. Case closed, guys. My client is innocent. And that is how these three witnesses came to believe they'd heard a gunshot at 5 o'clock, which conveniently is when the pocket watch stopped because it wasn't wound by Gregson the night prior.
Well, what a plot.
That's all you have to say, Judge.
And this implies that the victim could have died earlier than we've been led to believe. The previous day, even.
Now just hold your horses. All us lot here saw the victim going into the building, remember?
I couldn't forget that flame-colored hair, even if I wanted to.
Yeah, well, newsflash, guys, it was a wig. The person you saw entering the building wasn't the victim at all, unless he was a zombie. Consider this. Obviously, anybody can wear a wig. You don't need to use chemicals like Sholmes did to change the hair color. So the person that these witnesses saw entering the building 15 minutes before the incident occurred could easily have been someone else entirely, wearing the red hairpiece.
Someone else? Do you mean to say...
Don't make me name someone else. I'm just poking holes in the argument, okay? I don't have to come up with every answer. Damn it. It was the same person who contrived the firecracker trick. In other words, Inspector Gregson's killer. Don't you cackle at me, Kazuma.
Oh, very impressive, Ryunosuke. Naruhodo.
Kazuma? Thank you. Alright, you're not such a bad friend complimenting me on the other side of the bench.
I'm really quite amazed you've come this far. But after all, wasn't I the one who told you that you
had all the makings of a great defense lawyer. Yes, you did. I also noted the lack of a time of death in this report. A stark omission. But as far as I'm concerned, this whole country's justice system leaves a lot to be desired. Oh, alright, the aliens have pulled out our guns.
Order, order, order! Prosecutor Asogi, don't you slander the great justice system of Great Britain. What on earth do you mean by that statement? Huh? Are you saying I'm a shit judge?
I hear that many of the leading members of Britain's judiciary are present to observe this trial today. So we cannot allow even the slightest doubt to be overlooked. The defense's assertion about the time of death based on the victim's stopwatch is just conjecture. Oh, yeah? But, while the possibility exists that my learned friend may be correct, we have a duty to explore it. A lot of your shit's a conjecture too, okay? I just call it, extreme bluffing.
Well, certainly, I would agree with you.
And what immediately comes to mind is, of course, what was Inspector Gregson doing, and where did he go on the day before the incident? Do you know? The inspector always carried out his investigative work alone. His movements were treated as confidential within Scotland Yard.
Even within the yard?
However, considering the evidence we've been presented with so far, I'd say it's fairly apparent what case the man was pursuing. Wouldn't you, my learned friend? I do have a feeling about what case he might have been investigating. Yes, I agree. Surely. My lord, the defense believes it can explain to the court the case that was being investigated by Inspector Gregson at the time of his death.
Very well, counsel. Present your argument to the court. What evidence is suggestive of the case being investigated by the inspector on the day prior to the incident?
Well, perhaps it's the framed photograph? The notice board covered in notes and articles relating to victims of the Reaper. I mean, that could be it, too. Let's, you'd think we'd present the notice board. A freestanding notice board completely covered in notes and articles.
Take that!
I can't say that I find your answer suggestive of anything in particular.
I guess it is the photo of, Mrs. whatchamacallit.
Other than perhaps it is utterly wrong. That much you have clarified most expertly.
What? Congratulations, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. You deserve a reward for that expert display. I literally gave you the ball to lay up to the hoop, and you fucked it up. Ah! Did you just draw Kuruma on me, my friend? I think, Mr. Naruhodo, that there's one particular piece of evidence that really does stand out in showing what case Inspector Gregson was investigating. Oh, so not the notice board covered in notes. My lord, I have the answer now.
Very well, counsel. Present your argument to the court. Again.
Alright, let's do it.
Take that!
Damn it. What in the hell was this guy investigating? God damn it. Actually, you know what, now that I think about it, it couldn't ever be the notice board, and by extension, the photograph of Mrs. Vigil, simply because everyone thinks this is the Reaper's hideout, right? That this is all his stuff. So this wouldn't be Gregson's. He couldn't be investigating these. What evidence is suggestive of the case being investigated by the inspector on the day prior to the incident? Okay. Well, I suppose if we narrow it down, we've got the photograph of Mr. Vigil. Maybe that's what I need to present. We've got the Red-Headed League as well. Perhaps, actually, this is what I need to present, because he's got the red hairpiece, right? Let's present this. If it's wrong, it's wrong. We come back with 5 lives, and then we present the photograph of Mr. Vigil. Let's go. Red-Headed League article. Alright, there we go. Jesus. I'm so slow today. I believe this red hairpiece points to the answer. Huh? We might assume it was part of a disguise used to carry out an undercover investigation.
Surely not. Such a brightly colored hairpiece would only serve to make the inspector more noticeable.
Well, in certain crowds, yes, that's quite true. would definitely have made him stand out in a crowd. Except, that is, in a crowd of gentlemen from the Red-Headed League.
The Red-Headed League?
So, you'd already worked it out? Yes, I did. It was on the tip of my tongue this entire time. I'm sorry it took me a while to get it out there.
What on earth is this all about? Is there such an extraordinary league of gentlemen?
Yes, you'd fit quite in, considering you look a little bit like Sean Connery, I suppose, during the time the film was made. The Red-Headed League is currently under investigation for a grand deception. It is? Okay.
A deception of what nature, Counsel?
Redheads don't exist, my lord. They've been targeting red-headed men across all of London and tricking them out of small sums of money. 2 men were arrested for the misdemeanor only yesterday, in fact. Oh, yes, they were. My lord, the defense calls for those 2 men to be summoned at once.
2 redheads? Is that even possible?
Inspector Gregson clearly infiltrated the Red-Headed League using this hairpiece. So it's very likely that he had direct contact with these criminals. And it's quite possible that such contact led to, well, more serious events. Well,
I concur that we cannot in good conscience leave this new avenue unexplored.
Well done, Mr. Naruhodo. Well, it's another possible line of inquiry for us at least.
The prosecution will make immediate arrangements for the charged men to appear. Bring these 2 Red-Headed League conspirators before me, Prosecutor Asogi.
Damn. Oh, okay, which way to Scotland Yard, please? At once, my lord.
Very good. We will have a 30-minute recess. Court is adjourned.
All right, lunchtime. We can think about just how far off the mark we've been so far. To be continued. Okay, lots of moving pieces so far. Let's get justice for our boy Gregson and for Lord Van Zieks. Always lovely when you end an episode like 8 minutes before a save point. 2nd November, 12:33 p.m. The Old Bailey, Defendant's Antechamber. Oh, there you are, Odo. What kept you, my dear fellow? Doing my fucking job. What are you guys doing? Hello, Mr. Sholmes, Gina. Sorry for my aggression just then. I'm just really upset with myself for coming down to 1 life so early in the trial. You sure about what you said in there? That the boss, actually died the day before? It's pretty hard to swallow. Yes, I was shocked by the revelation too, Gina. As was I. Possibly more shocked than both of you. It's not a competition, Mr. Sholmes. Please stop trying to one-up us. Okay, nobody likes a person who one-ups everyone, alright? But I was more shocked than all of you put together, I promise. This is the autopsy report in question, is it? Yes. It's strange that there's no time of death noted. Suppose there's a simple explanation. Or perhaps it was a deliberate omission. Oh dear. If it was deliberate, it puts me in mind of the last case we worked on. And Dr. Scythe. I know. Anyway, it seems that on the day before Lord Van Zieks discovered his body, Inspector Gregson was investigating the Red-Headed League. So, perhaps something happened with them. Come to think of it. You had trouble with those League men too, didn't you, Mr. Sholmes? You were taken in by their trick. No. Naturally, I wasn't taken in, as you put it. My sleuth-hound interest was merely piqued slightly by the rare scent of a weekly £4 income. And that scent masked the underlying scent of deception, I suppose. The 2 criminals in question are the pair we saw being arrested yesterday, aren't they? In Mr. Sholmes' suite, I mean. That's right, Suze. And it was me what took 'em in. Thanks to a tip-off by a good law-abiding citizen. Who tipped them off, huh? Indeed, yours truly. Oh, okay. Brilliant. So it's going to be that pair in the witness stand next, is it? Something doesn't quite make sense to me, though. The day before Inspector Gregson was found, you hadn't had trouble with the Red-Headed League yet, had you? Why would the inspector have been investigating them? Well, the likely explanation would be that Gregson's own sleuth-hound interest was piqued by the rare scent of a weekly £4 income. Well, he could have easily attained that by not buying wedges for breakfast every day, I think. Don't tar him with the same brush as you, Sholmes. Not Holmes, that's not your name. Yes, well, then there's the whole issue of Inspector Gregson being investigated by Lord Van Zeeks for some reason. The Reaper, the Red-Headed League, Inspector Gregson, Lord Van Zeeks. You said Lord Van Zeeks twice. You know, he's technically the Reaper. And Cosma. I feel as though he knew we'd arrive at this point somehow. Gosh, I think you're right. What's he really trying to achieve here today? Revenge! All the answers will soon be revealed. Observe the time, my dear fellow. This recess will be over shortly. Yes, you're right. Okay, well, at least it didn't have to be summoned in. Cosmo was determined that he should be the one to prosecute this trial. And he was determined that I should take the defense. Just what is it that he's hoping to make me see, I wonder? I get the feeling we're a long way from the end of this trial yet. Oh yeah, baby. But we love that, don't we? We love being early days of a trial. Are you ready then, Miss Susato? Because there's going to be a lot of twists and turns coming up. Yes! Okay, well, she's ready. Let's go. Do I get my lives back on the 2nd November at 1 p.m. the Old Bailey courtroom? Damn it, Van Zeeks. Why you gotta pose like that?
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session again. We resume the closed court hearing of Baroque Van Zeeks, here present, who stands accused of murder. Now then, Prosecutor Asogi.
My lord.
Have you summoned the witnesses as requested?
Yes, the 2 members of the Red-Headed League who planned and carried out the deception. They arrived not long ago from the local prison by police carriage.
Very good. Well, glad I managed to eat my sandwich on time. Bailiff, usher the 2 men into the courtroom. Now! Immediately!
Wow. Okay. There's always something about seeing 2 new faces with this music playing in the background. It's like, I don't know what to expect half the time. These 2 men are currently being held by the police on suspicion of attempted extortion. You may omit your occupations, but state your names now for the court. I am Fabien de Rousseau, a descendant of the great de Rousseau family from Nice in France. And my name is Peppino de Rossi. You slurped. I am the 3rd son of the great Familia de Rossi, the landowners from Napoli. The 2 men first became acquainted at a boarding school for European nobility. Those who graduate from Temsic are the future leaders of Europe. Temsic? Oh god! Are we really referencing Temsic here? But, do you have any idea how boring it is to be born with noble blood? I know. I make it my mission to get the better of the world by employing the little grey cells of my brain. That is all I am trying to do, Why are we gonna have another Frenchman here? God, it was already embarrassing enough doing Madame Tussauds, alright? We don't need another version of my French accent on this playlist, okay? Now we've got Italian as well. So, that's the only reason for this whole grand deception you've been carrying out? You guys are bored? Oui, you could say that. Not bad, eh? He has the grand ideals, but the petty plans. This strange combination is the charm of the Hilarious brothers. Si, capo? It's we, not si. Listen to me, Peppino. I have 2 things to say to you. Hey, che? Are you about to tell me one of your grand anecdotes? Eh, viva? Firstly, I want you to stop calling me this capo. And secondly, we are not the Hilarious brothers. This is serious business. Che bello, there it is, the capo's trump card, the furrowed brow. It is deep, capo. The furrow and the meaning of your words.
The court has been led to believe that you guys have the most stereotypical accents ever, and under the banner of the Red-Headed League, you have conspired to swindle money from unsuspecting members of the public. Is this true?
Oui, c'est ça.
And what exactly was the nature of this deception by which you plan to defraud?
Well, I guess your guys' trial will be a slam dunk. Alors, I will explain it. No, capo. Leave it to me. As you see, we both have the vivid red hair, no? At school, we were teased for this without pity. The capo here, he was many times behind the schoolhouse, crying like the Trevi fountain. Those dogs one day this world will respect us redheads. Every night he would bury his head in his pillow and weep for the sapien pipino. Enough! I will explain the rest. The first step was a newspaper advertisement. About 1 week before the plan was put into operation, we listed the same notice in every paper in London. Yes, we saw that notice. It was this one, I believe. Entitled, To the Red-Headed League. Oui, c'est ça. I am honored that you have seen it. It states that the only condition for joining the League is having flame-colored hair. And that if you satisfy the interview panel and are admitted into the League, you could receive a weekly income of £4. On the date specified, red-headed hopefuls gathered in droves at a park specified in the advertisement. And from each person present, this pair took an application fee of 5 shillings. And with the money, to France. It was a plan most illegal, no? No, it was most dishonorable. But to be frank, I'm stunned that anybody was foolish enough to be taken in by such an obvious trick. The park was described by one witness as choked with red-headed folk, like Acosta's orange barrow. And the day on which all these men gathered to apply was the day before the victim was discovered. Crucially, these 2 men spoke face to face with every single person present that day. Oui, I have seen more red-headed people in one day than I will see in the rest of my life, because I'm going to prison. See, and now every time I see the capo's hair, I feel sick to my stomach. Anyway, why have we been summoned here today? Sorry? The date for our trial was not until tomorrow, I was told. Naturally, neither of these men have been told any details about this trial. They've only been shown this photograph. And they still don't know why they're here.
Very good. So, Mr. de Rousseau and Mr. de Rossi, you will now give your formal testimony for the court on the subject of the gentleman pictured in this photograph.
Of course, we are always ready to help with the law. I'm sure you are, sir. Go on, divulge your secrets. The man in the photograph. We had more than 1,000 red-headed people assembled in the park on Lime Street that day. But I don't recall the man in this photograph. Eh, capo? No, I don't remember him. Obviously, he is dead now, but I assure you he was not in the park. Allora, this victim has nothing to do with us. You have a lot to answer for, Peppino. It is your fault that we got caught in the first place. I feel like that's what I need to press. For some reason. You've given sworn testimony that this man in the photograph was not present. Can you be certain? Oui. I am quite certain. We did not interview this man. Nobody looking like this came to the park. This I can promise.
Must be noted that you have been arrested for a grand deception, however, so you guys are known liars. Accordingly, this court has little confidence in your assurances.
Well, shit. Ufa, with his attitude, we get nowhere, huh? He's really a sulking now. This confidential document was obtained directly from Scotland Yard. It records an entry from the inspector's private diary that dated the day before the incident. It reads, Lime Street, Red-Headed League, undercover. So you knew all along what he was doing? Why'd you make me lose, like, 2 lives to present that? Ah, I have the answer. Maybe there was another similar event in the park on the day in question, eh? That is ridiculous. There's no question that Inspector Gregson was investigating the Red-Headed League. Which means it's quite possible that's when he was killed.
Very well. The defense may proceed with the cross-examination now.
Yes, my lord. Absolutely. On it. No time to lose. Cross-examination, begin. I'm going straight for the last one. What do you mean by it's his fault you guys got caught? Here we go. What do you mean by that? Cavallo, you promised not to say, eh, Kappa? After we had taken all the money that day, we should have left the country. That was my plan. I left the purchasing of the tickets for the ferry to Dunkirk to my companion here. But he bought them for the wrong day. Oops. Oopsie. Whoops-a-doodle. See, but it's an easy mistake to make. The 31st. Woof. I have no sympathy for you. We were an all day late for the boat because of your stupidity. And it's only because of this that the so-called great red-headed detective caught us. Capo, you know what I think? This is a work of God. It's a holy punishment, eh? Peppino, for the last time. This is not only punishment. This is only your fault. Ah. Don't blame God for your unholy mistakes. You are making me sick with anger. Maybe I make a mistake, but when it's time to eat the pasta, no one is a fast. Thank you for letting us know of your skills. And I've seen the evidence. They haven't told us much we didn't already know. What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, if it was in the inspector's diary, it seems likely that he must have gone to Lime Street that day. And yet, these two both claim they didn't see him. I have to say, they don't appear to be telling lies. Well, they are experts in deception, don't forget. Sounding plausible is their specialty. Buying tickets is not. They may be lying simply to avoid being implicated in this case as well. Surely if they were truly experts in deception, they wouldn't have been caught. Well, yes, you do have a point there. It seems to me like we need more information. Definitely. Alright, well, there's plenty of statements I want to press. I guess we just go in order. We had more than 1,000 red-headed people assembled in the park on Lime Street that day. Tell me more. 1,000 people. It's a very big crowd. It was quite a spectacle. Redheads had come from all over the capital. See, the capo here, he has the magnetissimo animale, eh? Nobody else could attract so many people. If I could be born again, I would be the capo. All those people wanted was the money, Peppino. The £4 per week.
Are you suggesting that you spoke personally with all 1,000 applicants?
Oui, that we did, because every one of them paid us 5 shillings. We take their names, and we take their money, and we take their addresses as well. And then I tell them we take some days to let them know by a post, finito. Maybe 2 minutes a person? We start early in the morning, and we stop late in the night. So you earned 5,000 shillings in one day? That's a small fortune. Who'd have thought there were 1,000 such gullible redheads in London to start with? Maybe it was the economy, you know, desperate times. Called for people willing to fall for anything. One of them was a great detective with chemically altered hair. But I don't recall the man in this photograph, eh, Capo? He doesn't look at all familiar. I mean, they spoke with 1,000 people. I don't expect them to remember everyone's face. No, I don't think so. And this is a wig, eh? He was trying to trick us. Just like you were trying to trick everyone else. I do not like the people who are trying to trick the other people. Says the con artist. If between them they interviewed 1,000 people with red hair, it would be unreasonable to expect them to remember every face. No, senor. I may be small, but my memory is very large. I never forget a thing. In my opinion, I do not think this man was in the park. But he's not going to give the court a definite, it seems. Hey, Capo? You didn't see a man like this, huh? No, I don't remember him. And obviously he is dead now. But I assure you he was not in the park. But according to what you've said, you spoke with 1,000 or more people that day. Oui, that's true. My eyes were burning by the end of the day. Surely then you can't actually remember every single face. How are you so certain that this particular man wasn't present? Normally, the redhead is very distinctive, eh? But not when you have 1,000 redheads crowding around, then it is just an eyesore. But if there was some other information you could give us, maybe then we would recall. That is not the line, Peppino. Remember, we do not remember him. We are sure of that factor. Oh, sorry, is that the script you guys are going with? If there was a man with a red hairpiece, but his moustache did not match the color, then I do not think I could have forgotten him. Kazuma said these two had only been shown that photograph and they'd been told nothing else at all. But what if I fed them just one other detail about the victim? For example, what if I told them his profession? I can certainly appreciate that just knowing the man had red hair wouldn't help you remember in this situation. Ah, no, I should mention the wedges. That's what I should mention. But what if I told you that the man in the red hairpiece was actually a detective? The man is a photograph. A detective? Yes. It would appear he found your notice in the paper suspicious and decided to investigate incognito. Sorry, but this changes nothing. Oh?
Excuse me.
What's up? I thought I'd actually have to bring up the fish and chips, but no, never mind. Something to add, Mr. De Rossi? Che? See, I'm always adding something. Parmesan, olive oil, pepper. What I mean is, did you not agree with your friend's last remark by any chance? Eh? What did he just say about the detective? Yes, that. Keep your mouth shut, Peppino. You have said enough already. But why, Capo? What is the problem? There was a man who said, I'm an inspector from Scotland Yard. He's just too happy. What?
Good lord.
Uh-oh. Rousseau's not going to be happy with you.
Order, order, order! Explain this volte-face in your testimony, witness.
It's simple. A man who was at the park said to us, there was no such man. Madai, what are you saying, Capo? Have you forgotten, eh? I have forgotten nothing. Nobody like this came to the park. Basta, Capo, basta. You beat me at many things, but not to the memory and the meals. Like I said, when it's time to eat up the pasta, no one is a pasta. But you are inferior to me in every other way. So shut up!
Objection!
I object to you telling him to shut up. You can't just piggyback off my objection, Kazuma. At least we could have done like a dual objection. That could have been cool. Alright? Not since Trials and Tribulations, the final objection, has that ever happened, okay? And that was with the spirit. Ugh. Dropped hard. The damage is done.
Indeed it is, sir.
Even the judges had enough of your shit. Oui. There was a man who came to the park, and he said he was an inspector from Scotland Yard. However, he looked nothing like the man in the photograph. He was someone else. How can you be so sure? Because, to start with, his face was completely different. See, it's true, it's true. The man who came was a younger. His face was clean-shaven, his eyes were sadder, his chin was thinner. Who the hell is this?
No resemblance whatsoever, then.
Anyway, I was not going to be fooled. I took the obvious precaution and said to him, if you are really a detective, show us the proof. See, the capo here, he does not take a no-nonsense, eh? But he was well prepared. He said he had an identification. Identification? You mean official police inspector's identification?
That is most unconvincing.
Sorry, my lord.
Counsel, no incognito inspector would offer his identification for inspection. It's quite out of the question.
Definitely. Why would he expose his true identity? That's true. Clearly the papers were fake. Certo, capo, you are a genius. As we say in Italia, it takes a thief to recognize another, eh? And what happened after he announced that he was a detective? He became very annoying. He said you are under investigation. So I took his papers from him and chased him out of the park. It was fantastico. And look, here's the identification. Wow. Alright, go you guys. So you stole it from the man. He added a calming. He made us very scared. But he was not who he said he was. Oh, he was.
Indeed, the person described does not appear to have behaved as a true inspector would. However, I believe it would be prudent for these identification papers to be entered into evidence.
But I like them. The inspector's identification has been entered into the court record. Okay, the identification of a man claiming to be a detective inspector confiscated by Mr. de Rousseau and Mr. de Rossi.
Now let us return to the witness's testimony.
Okay, we're still along the lines of this testimony. But first, can we pop this open? Who's behind the curtain? Well, I suppose we should see what this inspector's identification looks like inside. What do we got? Yes, it definitely looks fake, doesn't it? Out of interest, what name is given? Probably just something plucked out of the air. It's Tobias Gregson. Wait, what? The Scotland Yard insignia. Looks genuine to me. But how? And the department and identification number details are all correct as well. Since when have you known those? Do you mean to say? I know it seems incredible, but yes. I think this is a genuine identification book issued by Scotland Yard. But that's unbelievable. This is the real thing after all? Okay, it's the official warrant card issued to him by Scotland Yard. That changes things, doesn't it? You guys really did meet him. Unless it was stolen. Victim has nothing to do with you. Alright. Where do we present this? Do we present it here? Am I jumping the gun again? This is what I always do. What else could we possibly present this for? You don't recall the man? I feel like it would be the third one.
Objection!
Okay, there we go. Perfect. I wonder if I could ask you to examine this identification book very closely. Miss Lestrade? Why Miss Lestrade?
What is your intention here, counsel?
Is this really a fake, or is it genuine? That's the question. Which we can't answer ourselves because we're both Japanese and we're running this court.
Objection!
Don't be ridiculous. No Scotland Yard detective would allow his or her identification to be stolen. That is the boss's. No question about it. It can't be. As I suspected. I mean, as Susato suspected, but I'll take the credit. The undercover detective who attended the Red-Headed League's enrollment on the day in question was the real Inspector Gregson carrying out an incognito investigation, which is pretty bizarre that you reveal your identification during an incognito investigation. Zwallow! Oh no, he's fallen down. Gina, help him up.
Order! Order!
But if the boss had his identification stolen, he would have reported it straight away. I mean, he was always on me about it. If you lose something, report it at once, he'd say. Could it be then that the inspector was physically unable to report it? Physically? Eh? What are you saying? Unable to. You're not suggesting. Yes, it's quite possible that he was killed before he had the chance to report his identification stolen. No. Uh-oh. I like how Kazuma's constantly on the back foot because he's kind of new at this too, you know? Like, he's not a tried and true veteran. He's been missing for quite some time. He only studied under Van Zieks once.
Order! 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 I keep saying it 3 times! I might as well say ho ho ho!
The defense posits that the victim was killed the day before his body was discovered at a different location. Do you two have anything to say about that? I know nothing! I know nothing! Put yourself together, Pino. Mon Dieu. You can behave a little more like a master criminal than that, none. Now I wish I had a return to Italia. Should have bought the right tickets, my friend. Stop crying, Peppino, please. Otherwise, Loom, stop your whining and start talking.
Well, I believe the court will need to hear your story in considerably greater detail. I know
Nothing. I don't know nothing. Shut the fuck. But you will tell everything, or face the worst possible outcome.
You will dry your eyes and testify again. About these identification papers, and the precise circumstances under which you became by them.
For crying out loud. Pun intended, damn it. The detective and the identification. The truth is, we took him prisoner and kept him for the night at our secret hideout. Even though I didn't think he was a real detective, I was too scared to let him go that day, just in case. We took the man's identification from him and shut him in the room next to ours. There might have been a little tussle, but we did him no harm. And the next morning we let him go. He spent the night in a nicer room. It was nothing like a prison, really. So Gregson's last moments were spent being detained by you two clowns? Jesus. Poor Gregson.
This is outrageous! You imprisoned the man!
But no, see, no. It was not like a prison. He was a very comfortable and a very calm and a happy. Hey, Capo? He was miserable and he wanted to die. It was never part of my plan. I swear it. Oofa, so you think it was my fault, eh? Just because I got the date of the ferry wrong. By one little day. I do not think it was your fault, Peppino. I know it. No. Per favor, Capo. It's not fair.
You shall have plenty of time for squabbling back at the prison, gentlemen.
Oof. I don't believe this. How could he have been a real detective?
Counsel for the defense, proceed with the cross-examination.
I feel like the judge is taking no shit now. Because this is an assault on Scotland Yard and one of their finest. So on the day before the incident, Gregson spent the night confined in this pair's hideout? Oh man, there's a lot to unpack here. Let's get at the truth.